Hey, I'm going to give you a behind the scenes look today at how I manage my income, my expenses, my personal finances, just like I do it. Nothing hidden, all of it explained because I want you to be able to do the same thing. So stay tuned. Hey, this is Jerry Fetta, CEO of Philanthro Wealth. Welcome back to another weekly wealth walk. And so this is a segment that I do each week to share with you my progress. Sometimes I go over stuff I'm working on with clients to show like what does this look like under the hood and behind the scenes, right? And so today what I want to do is I want to share with you how I allocate my income. And this is an important one because this was something that I changed probably 2-3 years ago that really made a difference for me, right? Now, there's a couple of things that I want to go ahead and base this off of. Number one rule for me is I have to earn more than I spend, right? It's not spend less than I earn, it's earn more than I spend. I demand more and more income. I'm always thinking about, okay, how do I grow my income? How do I increase my income, right? You can ask my wife, it's something that I work on all the time. And it doesn't mean you need to be an entrepreneur. It doesn't mean you need to quit your job and start your own business. It just means you look at how do I solve problems that make money. So I'm constantly looking at what problems can I solve that make money. And here's the funny thing, like I'll show you, the way I do my allocation. Like I am not doing this because I want money for the sake of money. It's a game. It's fun for me. I like solving problems. Problems happen to make money. When you solve more valuable problems, you make more money. So if you're solving lots of problems and not making very much money, that means that they're not very valuable, right? Like if your problem is like, is the window clean, right? You're not going to get that much. Is the laundry done? You're not going to get that much, right? That's the stuff I have my kid do. Okay, he's 13 years old, low level skill, low level work equals low level wage. The income is the scoreboard for how big was the problem, right? So that's something I constantly think about. The other thing is that I consider that I finance 100% of everything in my life, either by paying interest or by not earning interest, right? And so when I combine those two things, here's what I do is number one, each and every week, I focus on my income, increasing it. And then at the end of the week, I look at how much money came in. How much money came in. Now, based on the income that comes in, I then allocate percentages, right? And I do this just on a basic spreadsheet with formulas, right? So I allocate percentages. And so it's broken down where it's like this percent goes to housing, this percent goes to that, this percent goes to this. But the first thing I do is number one, allocate to pay myself first, right? This means that I save a percentage of my income off the top. It's allocated, right? Your goal should be to get up to the point where you can save 40% of your gross income. 40%, right? And I'm telling you that that's a challenge. Like that's something that once you do it, your wealth building is secured. Now it's just the question, like, where do I put this, right? Most people, like that is something they're confused about. They're asking the wrong question. They're like, where do I put this? And you're like, you put what? You don't have enough to put anywhere. That's the reason why you're buying all this stuff that doesn't make sense and putting it in the stock market with a bunch of non-productive stocks that are super, super high overpriced, or putting it in crypto hoping that the next turd coin goes to $1 million, right? Because you don't have enough to begin with. Why? Because you don't save enough. Hey, you want to see a magic trick? Get a copy of my book, Blueprint to Financial Freedom. I know it's in front of my chest and my face because I want you focusing on the book and not me for a moment before you go back to focusing on me and the content. You don't save a high enough percentage of your income and you think that 10 or 15% is good. I'm telling you, no, the wealthy do 40 minimum. So your question, again, your problem being solved is represented by the amount of money that comes in when you solve it. How do you solve the problem of how do I save 40% of my income? Right? You can only do it two ways. You either earn it or you economize and cut it out of your budget. And a combination of both of those work. I don't care which one you do, but I'm telling you that if you can get to this 40%, it's a big deal. Right? And you start asking different questions when you're like, okay, I need to make how much per month in order to do that? 10,000, 20,000, and 10,000 I save 4 and I live off of 6. I pay taxes and live off of 6. Right? That's like paycheck to paycheck. right? So I go to 20,000. Okay, so I earn 20. Okay, I save 8 of it. I live off of 12. I pay taxes and live off of 12. That's a little more like it. Like that's now more middle class comfort. You can, travel and do stuff. But here's the beautiful thing is you already saved 40%, right? If you're doing that model. So it's like, okay, I don't need to worry about penny pinching and budgeting and scrimping as much because the 40% is done. I get to spend and pay taxes with the entirety of the rest. Generosity expenses, taxes, that's the other 12, right? So I allocate, I pay myself first. Then I have all my other line item expenses, housing, groceries, dates, right? If you're married or you have a significant other, dates. And again, these are all a percentage of my income, right? So here's the beautiful thing is a triangle of wealth. We'll kind of use this as the example. Okay, I earn, I save, and I invest, okay? So I'm earning the income, I'm allocating my 40% here, and I'm telling you that all of this goes into my sacred account. Okay, if I'm doing the 40%, if you're doing the 40%, all of this goes into your sacred account, all of it. Okay, there's no like think about it. If you're using the sacred account, you are now in the business of banking. Okay? Really, really embrace that. You are now in the business of banking. You are a banker. You are your own banker. You have a banking system. You run it like a business. If I was in the business of gas stations, okay, I now own a gas station. I'm in the business of being a gas station owner and I sell gas to other people. And I'm like, okay, when my customers come in, I want some of them to buy my gas, but I'm going to hold off a percentage of them and send it to someone else's station just in case mine doesn't work. You see how illogical that is? Or I have a gym business. I'm in the business of owning a gym and I'm like, okay, these customers that are coming in, I'm going to take some of them and I'm going to send them to another person's gym and limit the amount that come into mine. Okay? Your dollars are your deposits. When you're a bank, your deposits are your customers. Like, really embrace this. I'm telling you, you need to get this. If you have a sacred account and you are like, oh, I'm going to take some of the money I save and I'm going to put it into my checking account or my savings account instead of my sacred account, it is the equivalent of I own a car dealership and when some of these people come to buy a car, I'm going to send them to my competitor instead. What? No, that makes zero sense. When you think about it like that, and why wouldn't you be thinking about it like that? Because you haven't embraced the fact that you are a banker. You're still thinking like a consumer. You're still thinking like a customer. I put money in someone else's bank. I'm a depositor. That's my job. That's the way you're thinking. So then you're like, oh, I don't want to take responsibility for having to be my own banker and run the system myself and make the money myself. I would rather just stick it in some of it in someone else's bank and let them do it to me where they financially benefit and I don't get anything, but I have less responsibility. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to do anything. No, so the entire 40% goes into your banking system. Those are your deposits. You're the banker. You're going to borrow against them and you're going to earn more interest than it costs you to borrow. And you're going to make sure that those loans that you borrowed get paid back with interest on an agreed upon monthly schedule. Right? So my 40%, all of this goes into my sacred account. Okay? Now, we have earn, save, invest. And so the other part here that kind of gets left out is when you're earning, you will spend, right? You will spend money. And here's the part that I do is because I'm on an allocation, a percentage-based system, as I earn more income, it's the same percentage allocation for housing, groceries, dates, transportation, you name it. They're all percentages. If my income goes up, what happens? It's percent of a higher number. I get to spend more in that area. See, I don't believe in like fix your expenses and live below your means and, act your wage. No, grow up. Grow up. Don't act your wage. Grow up. Make more money and then fund a lifestyle that you love. Live in somewhere that's inspiring to you. Eat good food. Travel to nice places. Drive a nice vehicle. Don't do it at the expense of saving 40% of your income. I'm saying that this comes first. 40% comes off the top. If that means that for a period of time we live in a shitty apartment, then that's what it means. That means for a period of time we eat cheap food. That's what it means. That means for a period of time, date night means we stay at home and watch Netflix together. That's what it means. That's not forever. If you're growing your income, which was the first thing I said, your income goes up, you start spending more on these categories. Your quality of life goes up with it. So if you're quote unquote building wealth and your version of building wealth means that your quality of life stays the same or reduces now, you're not doing it right. Okay, so 40% gets saved, the other 60, taxes, generosity, housing, groceries, you name it, and that should be a bigger and bigger pie because you're growing the income. Now what happens is you have the 40%. This gets saved in the sacred account. Eventually you've got enough money to invest. Okay, investing is doing things that grow your active or passive income with your money. Allocating your money in a way that it grows your active or residual income. Investing means you're using your money in a way that grows your active or your residual income. Money that I get paid once on when I do the work, or money that pays me new money for work I did yesterday. New money for old work. Or new work for new money. It doesn't matter as long as money comes in. Right? So if that means that I have money now in my sacred account and I'm like, okay, I'm going to grow my residual income. Okay, residual income could also be cash flow in your budget. I pay off a debt and I had a $600 a month payment that I no longer have to make to someone else's bank and it now goes back into my bank. That's a form of growing my residual income through the budget, through the cash flow. Or maybe I invest in a piece of real estate that pays me $600 a month. It was work I did yesterday and money that I keep getting tomorrow, right? Or maybe I learn communication skills and I get really good at sales and now I can sell and close bigger sales and earn more active income. It's not residual, but it's still money. It still feeds the allocation system. It still turns into a deposit in my bank. I don't care which one it is, okay? But I'm investing in that way. And so this is how I allocate, is that every time I do this, money comes in and it's already broken down percentage based on a spreadsheet, right? And then it's simply how much is in that category and how much do I spend based on what's in that category. And I spend less than what's in that category. And if you want to really do this the right way, you can set up a bank account, go to your bank and set up a bank account for each of the categories. If I have an allocation where I spend 20% of my income on housing, okay, 20% of the money comes in, I actually transfer it into the housing account. Okay, I spend 15% on groceries. 15% of what comes in, I spend on groceries. So I'm going to allocate 15% immediately to the grocery account. And then I do my transfers and bill paying for each of those categories out of those accounts. And it builds and it grows and it's nice and neat. That's what I like about this. It happens on the spreadsheet and then it happens in the bank, right? I'm telling the money where to go. This is very different. Like think about, like I'm almost doing backwards. Most people when they budget, they're like, how much is this? How much is that? Right? And they write down how much it's gonna be that's spent. And then they're like, how much do I have left? Okay. I instead say, how much do I want to spend in those areas? What percentage of my income would I like to go towards those areas? Good. Done. How much money can I make? And then I focus on that. And I let the spreadsheet do the work. I let the transfers do the work. And I just manage those transactions back and forth. I'm not thinking about at that point in time then, how do I save $3 a pound on hamburger meat? That's not a wealth building problem. Like at the very beginning of this segment, what did I say? The value of your work is demonstrated by the amount of money that shows up when you're done. $3 is not a very high value problem you've solved. Like here's what you did. I bought lower grade beef and saved $3. Okay, you didn't solve a problem. You just caused a problem. You're now eating lower grade beef, right? Or I spent 20 minutes looking for coupons, okay? And I saved, $2 on toilet paper because of that. You did not solve an important problem. Hey, what's up? Jerry here. I just wanted to give you another reminder. Grab my book, Blueprint to Financial Freedom. It's going to be one of the best books you have ever read on finance. I can promise you that. You're going to love it. It's also a free offer. So if you go to jerryfetta.com/B2F promo, you can get that now. Right? Like if you solved an important problem, that 20 minutes, you're like, I spent 20 minutes and I solved this really big problem for someone else. Usually it's for someone else, not for you if it's going to be a good one. For someone else, and now I made $4,000 because of that, which then feeds my allocation system. See, it's a mindset shift. So when you manage your finances this way, right, then it changes the way you think about it. You instead focus on how do I do better income producing activities? How do I become a more valuable problem solver? And then you just let the allocation system work itself. And if you solve that, like I said at the very beginning, now you actually have enough money to invest. See, the guy investing or the girl investing $200,000, because that's what they've put aside for investing, their mindset is different than someone investing 100, right? They think about it differently. When you're making a $200,000 decision, you're more engaged, you're more focused, you're going to do more research, you're going to do better due diligence, you're going to be more educated. Why? Because it's a $200,000 decision. The guy who's doing $100 doesn't have enough money to be making an important decision. So what does he do? I'm going to put it in an exchange traded fund that owns 100 different companies, of which I've never looked at the financial statements. I don't even know if they're profitable. I don't know who the managers are, yet I'm going to go own portions of those businesses and hope that they work out, right? Or I'm going to go buy the next fart coin and hope that enough people on Reddit forums buy it and it drives the price up, right? Why? Because I have $100. Okay, if you only have $100 to invest, that means you don't have good decision making. That's the reason you only have $100 to invest, right? I'm just being honest with you here. If you made better decisions, you would have more money to invest. And if you had more money to invest from a person that makes better decisions, because that's who you would be, you wouldn't be looking at Fartcoin. You wouldn't be looking at exchange traded funds with companies you know nothing about. Why? Because that's not good decision making. So which came first, the chicken or the egg? You made better decisions, which led you to have more money to make better decisions with, or you made more money to make better decisions with the money? Well, it starts with the better decisions, right? It's a better decision to focus on your income. It's a better decision to solve other people's problems. It's a better decision to become more valuable. It's a better decision to pay yourself first. It's a better decision to fund your own banking system instead of someone else's. This is a series of good decisions that leads to the climactic moment of I've got enough money to invest. Now I can make a better decision with a bigger amount of money because of all the good decisions I made leading up to this. That's purely what it comes down to, right? And so when you see someone that has higher quality of life, right? Why? Because when you do these investments, and they generate more active or residual income, it enhances your earn, that feeds into your allocation. You now have more money. You can spend more on your dream house. You can spend more on your car that you want to drive. You can spend more on the food you want to eat. You can spend more on travel with your loved ones because you earned more. Better decisions. Most people do it backwards. I'm going to spend even though I don't earn more. Now you have credit card debt. What was credit card debt? It's the same thing as being fat, but with money. You spent tomorrow's money today. If you've got credit card debt, you spent tomorrow's money today. You don't have it yet. If you're fat, you ate tomorrow's food today, right? It's the same thing. So you need to earn it first. Just like with the calories, you need to burn it first. So guys, that's what I wanted to give you. This is how I do my allocation. I do this once a week. Again, earn it, allocate it, and then run that allocation. Put everything through your banking system. Put everything through that sacred account. Invest to grow your active or residual income. Run all of that new income through your allocation system, and it just snowballs. It gets better and better and better, and you enhance your quality of life for yourself, your loved ones, and the world around you. And part of that allocation should be your own personal fund budget. You have money where you're like, if I want to go buy Jordans, this is for that. If I want to go buy, I don't know what you would want to buy. If I want to buy an archery set from my backyard, you have an allocation. It's your fun. And it improves your quality of life. It makes you enjoy life more. You've got an allocation of money you're going to spend on, your loved ones, gifts and outings and dates. And then you should have an allocation for generosity as well. Here is the money that I give to the community, to the world around me, that I put towards that to make that better too, right? Because we're all responsible for it. What happens to everyone happens to us. If it happens there, eventually it's going to happen here. If it happens here, eventually it's going to happen there. So guys, that's my weekly wealth walk this week. I hope that this gives you some insight. I'd love to hear your questions below. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Hey, this is Jerry Fetta here. I want to thank you for watching my video, watching my content. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to learn more about the blueprint to financial freedom and how you can achieve passive income that exceeds your savings, your expenses, your taxes, your generosity, and build wealth like the top 1%. I want to encourage you, grab a copy of my book, The Blueprint to Financial Freedom. You can go to jerryfetta.com/B2F promo, or you can click the link in the description of the video here. The copy is free. You cover your shipping. We'll send the book out to you, and we'll send you an email with a bunch of great bonus material also for free. Get the book, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on my next content.